Hi there, it's Jeff. Today I'm going to be showing you a video on how to construct melamine drawer boxes for your cabinets using ball bearing slide runners. In our case, they're bottom mounts. So stick around and you might learn something. Okay, here we have our components for our drawer box, which is made out of black melamine in our case. The first step is to actually do a cutting list and work out your components to cut these to the right sizes, and that can be seen in one of my other videos. For our example here, I've got them laid out on the table in the pattern of how they will be assembled. You will have your drawer bottom, drawer sides and drawer ends, is the way I like to do it, and that's my method of construction. I put the front and back up this way, and then your sides are the length of the runners. In my case here they're 450, and on the front and the back I'm going to be doing some pocket holes on the front which screw into the side here, so there's no visible screws on the side. That's the beauty of it. Also, when I'm using these ball bearing slide runners, I tend to use the bottom mount, which are mounted on the bottom there. So when you open up the drawer, all you see is that bottom slide runner and no visible screws down the side or bottom. So that's the way we put things together, and let's see how it's put together in our next clip. To start off with, I'm drilling the pocket holes into my front and back ends using my KREG jig. I've used masking tape as markers for where to position my board so I get an even drilling pattern space. You'll need to set up your drill and collar using the jig's guide, and also adjust the jig to suit your board thickness. In my case, I'm using 16mm melamine. As you can see, to make life easier, I've made a base with a backing board for my KREG pocket hole jig. This supports my drawer components and keeps them square when drilling. It's made out of 25mm MDF board. Once your ends are drilled, I fix these to the bottom. I sometimes use a nail gun to pin these together, which helps in the drilling and screwing process, which you'll see in the next step. I drill and screw these components together using 50mm chipboard screws. I recommend getting one of these drill bits with a countersink bit. They just make life easier and leave a really neat finish. If you're new to this process and find it scary when drilling into your pieces, you can draw a pencil line parallel to your ends using a combination square adjusted to approximately half the thickness of the board you're using, and use this line as a guide when drilling. Once that process is complete, I then position this on the bench sideways as seen, on top of my side component, and use a sash clamp to hold the pieces flush while I screw them into the pocket holes. In this next process of screwing the ends down, I recommend using an extension screwdriver bit for this process as it gives you better access due to the sharp angle of the drilled pocket holes. In regards to the screws, you can use the recommended pocket hole screws, but I just use regular chipboard screws. In my case, 28mm, which suit my 16mm melamine board. They work just perfectly fine and hold together just as strong. Once that's done, flip the box over and repeat the process for the other side. Now just sharing a top tip, before drilling and screwing the side down, I like to position the slide runner and mark where I need to screw this in place. And by doing this, it gives me a guide on where not to drill and screw the side down, so the screws from the runner don't collide with them. Another tip here, by using this method, the screws that I'm putting in here will be hidden by the slide runner, which saves the hassle of doing extra pocket holes underneath the bottom component. Next, I position the slide runner and temporarily clamp it into position. Also using a small piece of offcut to make sure the front edge is flush or just slightly sitting back, then screw it into place. I like to countersink the side mounting holes, as you can see, just as an extra precaution so the heads of them won't catch on the mating piece. Next, I'm positioning and screwing off the other part of the slide runner to the cabinet, making sure it's slightly sitting back around about 1mm from the front edge. And it's also easier to work in this position as you are not having to fight off gravity and the runner sliding and moving around while you're trying to screw it in. Once both runners are mounted to your sides, then you're ready to fit your draw box into position and give it a trial run. Okay, there you have it, the finished product with the drawer fitted into the cabinet, pocket hole screw system in my construction with bottom mount runners. Nice, clean, professional finish with no visible screws showing. That's the beauty of this method, inside and out. Top tip, not sure if you noticed, but with my bottom of my cabinet carcass, can you see how it's set back? It's actually done on purpose. It's set back 20mm from the front edge, so you can actually slip your fingers once the drawer front is on. Yes, you won't see any pocket hole screws, nice and clean, but when that drawer front is on, you actually got another access point for your fingers to pull the drawer front open. So you can actually do it this method and no visible handle or finger pull if you don't like. You actually do it from the bottom so you don't see anything, or you can do a finger pull at the top, which this one's going to have as well, with a shadow rail. So I hope you've liked this video. If you did, press like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.